Hi, and thank you for downloading this video. My name is Louise, and I am a professional technical writer, copywriter, copy editor, proofreader. I've done that for at least 13 years. And before that, I taught English as a second language. I taught academic writing skills. For all of that time, 23 years or so, I've been supporting technical professionals with their written communication skills through private coaching or teaching in institutions or just supporting my colleagues to better articulate what it is they want to say. So, without further ado, I'm going to share just 3 small things that you can do right now to boost the power of your writing. The first one's pretty self-explanatory. Keep your sentences short. The longer they are, it starts to get difficult for the brain to follow. People get inconvenienced. And the longer your sentences, the more likely it's going to have errors that make it hard to understand. It's always good to have variety in your writing, and mainly short sentences punctuated by an occasional long sentence, but not long sentences all the time. Prefer active verbs. Now, many writing style guidelines tell the staff to write in active voice and not passive voice, but they don't actually explain what that means. And I've found that many of my colleagues over the years have thought that passive was more about a tone of writing, like passive rather than forthright. But it's really just a grammatical structure. Our sentences can be in active, which is subject, verb, object. The boy kicked the ball. Or passive, which is the opposite order. The ball was kicked by the boy. The moment that you can transfer more of your sentences from passive to active, they'll become cleaner, more precise, and have more impact. The last one is avoid nominalisations. So nominalisation is when you create a noun, a thing, out of a verb. So the implementation of X was done instead of just using a verb, we implemented it. So let's get started. The first exercise is 1, keep your sentences short. Here's my example. And I've said in the box, rewrite the following sentence to shorter sentences of 15 to 20 words. So let's have a look at this. You could have done it in different ways, but the way I'm going to suggest today is I'm going to put a full stop here. And then I'm not going to use so at the start of a sentence. It's not necessary. I'm just going to make it at first, and then a comma after at first, because we always have to put a comma after the introductory phrase. At first, you may still find yourself writing the occasional long sentence, especially when trying to explain a complicated point. I'm going to keep that one long sentence because it's good to have variety of length of sentence, and this is not hard to understand. And then we've got, but most long sentences can be broken up in some way. So I'm going to prefer to start it with however, and then again, a comma. So I did make a couple of little edits as I went along. So 3 sentences now. It can be difficult to keep to the above recommended average sentence length. At first, you may still find yourself writing the occasional long sentence, especially when trying to explain a complicated point. However, most long sentences can be broken up in some way. Number 2 is preferring active verbs. In this exercise, I'm going to get you to change the sentence from passive to active. So the steps involved in developing appropriate competencies are described in this section. This is the passive here, are described, but it's this thing, is or are, and then the verb. So what we want to do, if we want to change it from passive, we've got to flip that. So let's have a look. This section describes, and then the rest can be the same. Now, number 3 is avoiding nominalisations. The following sentences use nominalisations. Edit them to be sharper by removing the nominalisation and using strong active verbs instead. So we had a discussion. Just say we discussed the matter. And, that's not too bad. We had a discussion. It's not saying that that's wrong. But when you have a lot of these nouns, it can become very difficult to read. So the implementation of the method has been done by a team. So I would suggest for that one, who did what? The team implemented the method. All right. If you want to learn more, I'll soon be releasing my mini course, 1 Hour of Power Technical Report Polish. There'll be a limited time offer to get a pretty big discount in the course. Until then, happy writing, and thank you for joining me today.